What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Ballin' Out Podcast with your hosts Sean Robinson, Grant Rhodes, and we got a special guest today, um, Chippewa Valley alum and former football teammate. I can name it down the line. My boy Michael Merkle, the host of he has his own podcast. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. But yeah, Mike, appreciate you joining us today and to talk about some ball.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I've been listening to you guys talk for a while, and I wanted to jump on and talk a little.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. So let's let the viewers know about you a little bit. Your podcast and stuff like that. I'm the Always Right podcast. I think I got that title right.
Yeah, so we're the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. We release episodes every Monday at 6 a.m. Me and my co-host Rob Mendyka. And we do everything Metro sports related. So we'll talk anything Lions, hockey, Wings, Tigers, Pistons. We hit Michigan State during their seasons. And then we also try to incorporate a little bit of professional wrestling in there as well. So if you're a WWE, AEW fan as well, we usually save that to the end because we prioritize the sports podcast of it. So if you're like, oh, I don't watch wrestling or anything, then you can listen to the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, and kick out. But we try to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, no, that's pretty hype. I didn't know you guys did the wrestling part too. Yeah, that's
wrestling's pretty cool, man. Hey,
Exactly.
What do you guys talk about with wrestling? What goes
So
on?
we do like, we'll preview all the shows. We'll give our opinions on like who you think what storylines that are going on. I'm sure you guys know about the Cena thing. So that's going to be this upcoming week because we're going to talk about the Cena stuff. I'm definitely on one side of it, and Rob's on definitely another side of it. So we're probably going to argue about that for a while. But yeah, just all things wrestling. News, rumors. We hit all of it.
dude. That sounds like that Cena stuff right there should be an episode by itself.
Dude,
Like,
it could be, honestly. Like, we're going to talk, because the show's on, it was like a fine show, and then we're going to be like, yeah, that happened, and then Cena turned, and that's going to be like 45 minutes, probably, I imagine, so.
Dude, yeah, no. So that's hype, man. And we'll talk about, I'm sure, NBA stuff like that. You talk about that stuff. But yeah, no, where can people catch your podcast though? I'm sure everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. We post initially to SoundCloud, and then it shoots out to Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, so wherever you get your podcasts, you can probably find us.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, appreciate you jumping in the show today. Most definitely, excited for this conversation we're gonna have. Let's go ahead, since we all from Michigan and everything like that. Let's talk about the Pistons. The hometown team exceeding expectations by far this year. I would say, unless something catastrophic happens, that they're a playoff team. And I'm pretty confident in what they could possibly be in this upcoming playoffs. Kind of want to go around the horn here, so I'll start with you, Mike. What's your thoughts on the Pistons season?
Yeah, no, I mean, they've definitely exceeded my expectations. So their over-under to start the year is 25.5. Me and Rob were very optimistic on that. We were like, I think J.B. Bickerstaff coming in, Malik Beasley and some of the pieces that they got, I definitely was like, I think they can definitely hit that 30-win mark, maybe be competitive for the play-in. Like, projecting out that Cade was going to be a good player, didn't think he was going to be at this level, but being a good player, Ivy in his third year now, whatnot, and all these guys, I was like, yeah, 30 wins. If they hit 35, I'd be pretty ecstatic. Walking into March 5th, and you're at 35 wins already, I did not see coming. I was absolutely flabbergasted. And the fact that with the rest of their schedule, they can probably hit mid-40s, maybe maybe 50 if they're lucky. I mean, it's an absolute heck of a turnaround from 14 wins in the worst losing streak in NBA history last year. So, yeah, they've been fun. This is probably the most fun Pistons team I think I maybe have ever watched. Like, I've been watching, I mean, we've debated basketball since, high school, but even before then, I was kind of catching in, like, late 2000s ball, and that was kind of when the Pistons finally took that downturn, and then they kind of were there, but not really. This is definitely the most fun, by far, that I've had watching the Pistons.
Grant, what's your thoughts before I give my 2 cents?
Yeah, no, I mean, just the fact that, just echoing Mike's point there, 35 and 27, I don't think anybody would have predicted, this good a play from the Pistons. I think we can all agree, another year at Cade, such a high level right now. 9-1 in your last 10 games is just phenomenal. I won't say everything he was saying. It's the same stuff. This is really cool to see it's fun for all of us Michiganders after. Because I feel like as a whole, Detroit's making the turnaround. Like as a whole, or like we just mentioned it earlier before, like when we were just kind of talking before the podcast. Detroit teams have not been great as of late. Like now to see in our lifetime, we're actually seeing like a little bit of a turnaround. It's special. Like it's cool. But it's cool to see how it also like unites everybody too. Like I know our group chat's always talking like 24/7. Like whenever the Pistons are on, like oh you seeing this, you seeing this. So it's just a different level of fun, different level of excitement now that we're seeing.
No, for real. I will not toot my own horn a lot, but I did predict, Mike. I don't know if you saw, but I did predict that the Pistons would make the playoffs, would be a playoff team before the season started.
Flat in playoffs or not even playing?
I said flat in playoffs.
Shoot.
Grant flat in playoffs.
Okay.
And, you know, I just thought that you mentioned earlier, like JB Biggerstaff, the way he's kind of like transformed this team, like it speaks wonders and really like questions like what was Monty Williams really doing last year? Because if you look at it, like there's not too much difference. You know, obviously Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, and Tobias, Tim Hardaway Jr. made an impact for real. But I mean, like your core players that you're going to, like it's pretty much the same as last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd say about now half the season you haven't had Ivy as well. So it's just crazy to see, you know, how this turnaround is kind of going. How far do you think they can go in the playoffs? Like, what do you think is their ceiling this year?
They have been on record. So I did a topic on this 2 weeks ago on my pod about all the teams and kind of their ceiling and floors. I think their ceiling is probably second round. I think, and I'm interested what you guys think about this. I actually think the only team from the 6th spot that you realistically would not want to see is Milwaukee. I think you would love to see Indiana, I think. And I think the Knicks are not as scary as what people throw out there. I think the way that Thibodeau runs his team kind of into the ground, it feels like he plays like a 7-man rotation all year long, and then come playoff time, everyone gets hurt or they're exhausted. I think with Cade being able to do what he does at 36 minutes a game or whatever he's at, I think when the playoffs come, when he's way more healthy than the whole Knicks team, and he's putting up 40, 42 minutes, and his stats even go higher because he's getting the more minutes to get better stats and everything, I think that they have a chance to beat the Knicks as well. The only one I'm worried about would be Milwaukee, because I don't think we have anyone that can slow down Giannis in anything. But so I think they're a second round ceiling, only because if they do beat the Knicks or beat Indiana or whoever, Cleveland and Boston just seem so overwhelming for them. So I don't think they could make it past that, but definitely could win a first round series for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that take. I really am not scared whatsoever of the Cavs team. We've talked about this before. Donovan Mitchell-led team does not get you very far, and I think as a whole, I think the Pistons have a shot. This is a very, 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 very hot take, spicy, if you will.
Okay.
I really do think if we don't see the Bucks, because again, like you mentioned, the only person I'd be actually like genuinely afraid of in the playoffs is Giannis. You know, he's got to the finals before he's done it. Defensive monster, we know all about that. Dame, obviously, he does his thing. But I think this team can make it to the finals. I'm not even kidding. Like if we don't get matched up against the Bucks, I am completely fine with playing the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Completely fine with the Knicks, like you just mentioned there. I think they're going to get run into the ground. I think the Celtics as a whole they're just not the same team. Like they don't have the same energy as they did last year going in the finals. Granted, yes, they're still a phenomenal team. Really, really good team. But like I'm not scared whatsoever of the Cavs. I know that they're fantastic. Darius Garland's playing some really good basketball. But we also lock up on defense too, is our thing. Which I think in the playoffs, like that's where it's going to really come down to it as well. You know, on top of already our good shooting numbers and high percentages from some of our guards. And like you mentioned, Jaden Ivey has played 30 games this year. You know, once he really gets his feet back underneath him, I think we're going to see something special. Now, do I think 100% we make the finals? Probably not. Let's just be honest. I think at some point too we're going to see the Bucks as well. Like right now, I mean, the standings right now we're at the 6th seed there. The Bucks are at the 4th seed at the moment, but we'll kind of see how that works out. So, in my opinion, the only team I don't want to play, like you were mentioning, Mike, I don't want to see the Bucks, but I like our chances against any other team in the East.
Here's where I would push back a little bit. Is I actually kind of agree with the Cleveland take, and I actually said, because I was kind of throwing out this hypothetical where I was like, if you could choose a path for the Pistons, and it was play Milwaukee and then Cleveland, or play the Knicks and then Boston, which path would you take? And I was almost to a point of arguing the Bucks Cavs path because I do think that the Cavs do have some of that Utah Jazz from like 2021, Phoenix Suns 2022, where they're such a great regular season team, and even Memphis 2 years ago, where you're such a good regular season team, but then you just run into that team that's like, we're just better than you. Like, so I kind of agree with you there. Boston, I'll only push back in the sense of they're the team that feels like the veteran team. Like, they feel like the Chiefs to me from football, where the regular season, it's like they don't really care. Their season starts in the playoffs to me, and I think Boston's going to ramp it up, and their roster, I think, is like too good to not be at least worried about when you go against them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with the Boston take there. I mean, at the end of the day, too, like they've done it. I mean, they literally did it last year. Like at the end of the day, like they know what it's like in the playoffs. One thing I also kind of struggle with too with the Pistons is like how are we going to look in the playoffs? Like it's a whole different atmosphere once you go from the regular season to the playoffs. We haven't seen that yet, so that's the other thing too, where like it definitely scares me not having that experience, not having like anybody actually been there before.
Yeah. That's why my floor for them is the first round exit, because I think if they play the Knicks, while I do think I would pick them to win, because they don't have that experience, I'd be worried that the Knicks' experience from past playoffs would triumph a very young team that has almost no playoff experience. So I think there is a chance that they can lose there as well. But
yeah, no, I definitely feel that for 100%.
I'm kind of with both of y'all on this. Not scared of the Cavs. I've said that multiple times, and Mike, you were spot on. It's Jazz all over again. I don't see them doing anything. The Bucks really, yeah, are the only team I'm scared of, but at the same time, not really, because one, they have Doc Rivers, so I trust JB Biggerstaff over Doc Rivers any day of the week.
that's facts. You're right. Yeah.
So even and talk about Grant, you said about young team. Yeah, I'm worried about that, but now because I think the league has changed so much, like we've seen young teams kind of make it like far before. You go back to 2020, 2021, Atlanta Hawks. No one expected them to kind of make the run that they did. And then you look at last year, I say the Pacers. Yeah, they had some experience with Miles Turner and Siakam, but like everyone else, like that was kind of like their real first playoff run, and then they just ran into injuries, that kind of derailed them and hurt them. I could see. I don't know about finals. Finals. I would love to see it.
That's spicy.
I'd love to see it. If this was the NFL and you only had to win one game, for sure. Like
yeah, anything's possible for sure. If this was March Madness type, where it's like you could win one, I'd go. You could beat Boston in one.
Oh yeah,
outshoot them, or they're gonna shoot 75 threes, and if they miss them all, you can win.
Yeah.
Like I could take my odds there, but in a best of seven, Giannis is just ungodly sometimes, man.
And that's the thing too. Like, yes, the Pistons are really good, like defensively, but they kind of struggle sometimes with those bigger dudes. So like, the Giannis and Brook Lopez, like we've seen in regular season, like they kind of struggle, against those guys. Porzingis, if he's healthy, he can make an impact and kind of give some problems for Jalen Duren too. But I mean, conference finals though, I could definitely see it happen. Especially if, Cleveland gets upset by, they're the 2 seeds, so they would have to play the 3-6. I mean, against the Knicks, they could possibly get upset.
Wait, did you say Cleveland gets upset?
Boston gets upset? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, if they get upset by New York or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, no, I like your ceiling that you gave to the second round. I kind of agree with that. But I mean, I like Grant's point. Anything's possible.
Okay, so can you answer me this though? Then, so would you take the Pistons if it was Knicks then Boston or Milwaukee Cleveland? Which route would you rather take? Would you take the other one that's not Milwaukee because it's Milwaukee? Because I think you have an easier second round matchup with Cleveland, but a tougher first round matchup.
Honestly, and this is gonna be a hot take. I'm taking the Milwaukee Cleveland route just because. Doc Rivers, and the Bucks have some new elements, to this team. So yeah, they're kind of grooving and getting in the gears and everything right now. But like come playoff time, can you depend on Kyle Kuzma? Like when's the last time Kyle Kuzma was into the playoffs? The bubble? Like it's been a while. So and unfortunately, the last couple of playoffs, Giannis has gotten hurt. So, that's another thing that, you got to factor in possibility of injuries too. So I'd rather take that route though. I think for sure. Just because like Boston, you're seeing them for what would it be, second round? Because you said Knicks and Boston.
Yeah, I'm assuming they say it to 6, so like it'd be Knicks and then Boston second round.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to see Boston second round because first round, whoever they play, most likely is a sweep.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have at least, I'd say, about 2 days rest because Pistons Knicks is probably going to go to 6 or 7. So they're going to have a couple extra days to rest. And yeah, just, reigning champs. And if they're healthy, give some time to Porzingis, Brown, and Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be, not good situation for the Pistons. So.
Yeah. I would agree too, just because I like the first round matchup. I think more is possible there in the first round. Like, yes, it still is the playoffs, but like, teams really kick it into gear once you get into like that second round there. Like, that's when say shit hits the fan, if you will. It gets intense there. So I agree 100%. I think I'd rather see a Doc Rivers led team in the first round because like at that point we've seen it happen before with Doc. He has such a good team, and then what happens? Sean knows all about it, unfortunately. But poor guy.
I knew it was coming.
I had to. But and then also another thing I want to say too is like we talked about this when the Celtics won it all too. I said Porzingis is really the difference maker for that Celtics team. Like, yes, Tatum and Jaylen Brown, phenomenal athletes. Like we know all about that, but Kristaps, I think, just takes him to that next level there. And if he's healthy, man, it's tough. It's tough to pick anyone outside Boston. There really, like they really are a talented team from start to finish. They're top of the roster to the bottom. But with that, yeah, I would agree. I'd rather play the Bucks kind of first round there and see the Cavs for sure in that second round. Because I like our matchup against the Cavs second round better than I would against the Celtics for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts were.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and that's actually, to think about that. That's a good scenario. Yes, yeah, I'd much rather take that route as opposed to just Boston. What do you think? We talk about the playoffs here. Obviously, we hope that they make a finals or conference finals run. But what do you think are the next step for this young team? Going to this offseason. Is it to kind of get rid of, some players, upgrade, go for that superstar to take you to maybe you're a top 4 team in the East? Mm-hmm. Or is it wait another year, build around this team that you have, re-sign some guys like Beasley and, hope for the best?
Yeah, so this is a great question to ask me after I see how far they get.
Okay.
Because if they're first round exits and they lose in like 5 to the Knicks, I'll think they're farther away. But if they beat the Knicks and they go 6 games with Boston or 6 games with the Cavs or something, and I'm like, you got something here? We kind of threw this name out there because he's kind of out in the sphere. And I said no so fast originally, but if they do go far, like Kevin Durant, like how crazy of a is he booked? Do you guys think? Because right now in Phoenix, they're not doing any. I mean, they upset your Clippers the other day. Sorry, that was a jab. I didn't mean to. My bad.
It's good.
He's used to it. Don't worry.
I'm used to it on this pod.
They came back, but he doesn't look happy. All the rumors are out there that he's basically gone and he's going to ask for a trade. I mean, if the compensation wasn't crazy to give back to them for a trade, is KD like? I mean, he can plop right in and play the 3 or the 4 tomorrow on literally any team. I mean, him, Cade, Ivy as a big 3.
It's not bad. I'd actually go with someone else on that roster. I'd love to see D-Book come home. D-Book's been wearing way too much like Michigan State, Detroit. He's wearing what was it, the Griffins? Like it was literally wearing a Griffins hockey jersey. This dude is a Michigan native. Like we need to bring him home. We just need to bring him home.
Booker's my dream. I just don't think that Booker's like out there in the world. Now, no one thought Luka was out there in the world, so maybe anything's possible at this point.
That's why I say but this season's proved a whole lot with that. Yeah,
for real, no, 100%. But I think I'm kind of him and Han on the KD thing. Because if we go to the second round or hell, even the conference finals or something, I think KD can easily get you over the top in a year or 2.
Yeah, so two things. I'll mention something about the KD and then Book. So about KD, I like the idea. Like, it's not bad. But my thing is, because he's up there in age, right? I mean, you have him with Cade and Ivy, but you're losing some of your defense because I'm assuming like Asar, Ron are probably both going to have to go. So that loses, some defense, some youthfulness. And, it's like how many years are you having KD for?
Mm.
He's on a 1 year contract. So if you expect him to do anything, it'd probably be, I'd say, 3 years max, a 2 and 1 player option.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like the idea. I think it would really, I mean, it's the Eastern Conference, so that right there, I'd say we're probably a top 3 seed. As long as KD and Cade stay healthy,
Yeah.
I'd say top 3 seed. Kind of filling out the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the Booker stuff, and I was thinking about this yesterday. And to your point, Mike, you said that Phoenix is kind of blown up. And they're gonna do. I think that team is something's gonna happen, whether it's Bud's fired or KD's gone or a combination, whatnot. But so Devin Booker has been in the league for what, about 12 years now, 11, 12 years. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's stayed in Phoenix. He's been the franchise player and things like that. And rumors have came out that they're not going to trade him because he is a franchise player. He's been to one conference finals, one finals over all of his career. He had a good 5 year stretch where he had a decent team with Mikal, Cam Johnson, Chris Paul, and all them. When is it the Suns front office goes, is Devin Booker really a franchise player?
Mm-hmm.
You look at it and it's like, if he's a franchise player, this Phoenix team should at least be in the play-in right now. Okay, like, yeah, they are now, obviously, because of the win against the Clippers, but they should be, fighting for a playoff spot. If you think about it, it's like KD and Devin Booker, right? Yes, the rest of the roster is terrible, but I'm thinking like, Memphis, for example. We saw last year how they were terrible without Ja Morant. Yeah, that Jaren Jackson Jr. was the only person on the roster. But you look at some of these teams and it's like, hey, like, franchise guy, he's going to lead us to do franchise things. Stephen Curry, when he was hurt that year during COVID, obviously the Warriors were terrible. And now, he's gone and won a ring and been the franchise guy. Obviously Steph Curry and Devin Booker aren't in the same realm. But, I'm just saying, how long is Phoenix going to say, hey, he's a franchise guy, we're going to build around him. And then nothing really comes out of it except for, how many times has he been to the playoffs? 3, 4. And the furthest he's gone was have a 2-0 lead and then blew it in the finals.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I do think, and I've always kind of thought that Devin Booker's could be the best 2 you could get, but he's never really felt like a 1 to me, which is why I thought, who's the GM there? Matt Ishbia? Is that the GM there? They went to get KD to be the 1 so Booker could be that strong 2 next to him. I don't know why they ever blew up that original Chris Paul, Ayton, Mikal Bridges team. That to me was already crazy just for KD, and then this happened and everything. I would love Devin Booker to be a Piston. I think him and Cade together I think he would be the best fit for Cade. A guy who can set in the corner, D&D guy, really good 3-point shooter. He's everything Cade would need to be super successful here. And then you could bump Ivy down to the second unit and just have him run the whole second unit basically. I think that'd be a great guard rotation for you. But I just don't know how realistic the Devin Booker one is, which is why I throw KD out there, because all the reports are that KD wants out. And if he wants out, that means maybe his trade value will be a little bit lower. So maybe instead of 7 first-round picks and 4 swaps, you're giving 2 or 3 first-round picks for him for 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, okay, that's way more doable. But
yeah, if it was something like that, I'd love it. I do agree with you 100%. I think if we were trying to go after Book, we're just going to give up way too much. I wouldn't say he's young by any means, but he's definitely not at the end, tail end of his career by any means. So it's you're definitely giving up a lot more picks. You're giving up a lot more players. It'd be tough, but it'd be something again. If the Suns do decide to just blow it up, and you're getting rid of those 2 guys specifically, what offers are they going to take?
Yeah, so Devin Booker's only 28.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just crazy. It would be a lot more to give up, but that's a guy. To your point, Sean, you would have for potentially 8 more years until he's 35, 36 before you probably start considering elsewhere, where KD's already at 36, 37, so you probably only have that 2-year window with him. So I would give up more for Booker and try to get Booker, but I think KD also could be a nice just plop in. You could have a starting lineup with Cade, Ivy, Asar, KD, and Jalen Duren. That's a pretty
That's
solid
dirty.
5.
That's dirty. Yeah.
You got
That is a nice
you know what I
five.
mean? Like the guard play is 3-and-D, so they can all switch on everything. Your forward play, even if KD's not great, Asar can just throw on anybody, and then Duran with his size. I just think it's a great 5. So
It would be nice. And the only thing too, you're missing out on draft picks. So how many? I mean, yeah, I guess for either player, I guess it would probably be, I'd say, a little bit more for KD than Booker.
mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, just on, but who knows? Rudy Gobert we saw 7 first, and Luka Doncic we saw
1.
So I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
I've kind of after that trade, I've really said it's like anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought like I like have an idea or something like that, but like no, because that came out of left field, and just the fact that I think anyone could be traded. I mean, who knows? Devin Booker could ask out, eventually.
Yeah.
I think I'm with the Grant's point of he's wearing every other day something Michigan related.
It's just
like,
crazy.
He is too.
Come on, man. Come
He wants to come home. Question for both you guys, real quick. How many picks would you be willing to give up to get Devin Booker? Like how many picks is like the number for you guys to be like, okay, yep, I can do that? Because I mean, I'm really thinking about it. Like if we're giving up like four picks, I don't hate it.
So here's the thing: is again, this kind of rolls back to the question of like, are you ready to be like a contending team or not? Because if you're a contending team, you're never going to pick within the top 14 for the next X amount of years. And how many like starting or star level players do you find post pick like 20? Like very little. In the NBA. NFL, you find guys in the 4th round. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud in the 4th round. NBA, Joker's the first one that pops to mind, Draymond Green, but you get like one every couple drafts that's actually a legit stud. So if you think you're close, like if you threw 3 or 4 first round picks at him, and then you're gonna say we are gonna be good for the next 5 seasons with Cade, Booker, Ivy, and the rest of your team that you have, I mean, I think the sky's the limit there. But if you don't think you're ready and you do it prematurely, then if it doesn't work, you lose all that capital, and then your team's going to fall off a cliff. So that's why I really want to see what they do in this postseason. Because if they beat the Knicks in the first round, I would be like, whatever you guys want to do, because you're capable of winning now. But if they get smoked in 5 games, I go, maybe you're not ready yet.
Yeah, I feel that 100%.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Mike. Kind of echoing it. It kind of depends on, I guess, what really happens. This season. Is Cade really this all NBA type player? MVP. I think he's MVP caliber type of player. So I'm expecting kind of a we beat the Knicks first round and go to the second round, and at that point I'd throw 3 firsts, maybe a pick swap or something for Devin Booker, especially if you're getting him for, like you said, Mike, the next 8 years. Yeah. Because you basically have
Cade's 24 or 23. You'd have Ivy at 22, and then you would have Booker at 28. So you're guaranteed 3-4 years of prime all 3 of those guys. Plus Duran's 21 or 22, and Asar Thompson's 20. Like, your team is so young right now that like the sky's the limit for this. It feels very Boston 2017, 2018 when they got Tatum and Brown. Like they were in the playoffs, they had success, but like you saw the vision, but also you were like, I don't know if we weren't sure. And now you finally 5 years later we're like, oh yeah, okay, they're legit. And I think that's something, as they're all entering their prime at the same time, you could really get all of that. So
yeah,
it's exciting when you have a nice young team.
Yeah, no, and when they're good too, they got a good roster and things like that. And I think just it shows how much credit JB Bickerstaff and his all his coaching staff, but like having good vets, and Devin Booker would be a great vet to have. He's seen everything. He's been to the conference finals. He's been to the finals. He's played in the Olympics. Like he's done it all at this point in his career, and so he would be a great guy to kind of show, especially Cade, number 1, how to work the ropes. Devin Booker too. You don't have to be the main guy every night. We're not asking you to be the main guy. Cade's still going to be the main guy. You're just going to be his sidekick. Basically, it's going to be Batman and Robin. Who are you going to stop?
Yeah.
So, and it's the East, so you're essentially guaranteeing yourself a top 4 seed. Unless somebody else does something drastic, like Orlando or Atlanta. I don't believe in Philly. Philly's done. Who knows what could end up happening. So we'll see. We'll
Did
see.
you guys see the Stephen A. Smith thing it was a week or two ago, where he was like, I need to applaud Troy Weaver for building this team. Did you see that?
Is that what he said?
Yeah,
I saw that.
because he was like, he drafted Cade and he drafted this young core to be where they are right now. And me and Rob were just cracking up on our pod about it the other day, because I was just like, they couldn't be so farther from the truth.
Little did he know. Okay, Troy Weaver, props to him. Yeah, he drafted well in OKC. People could say he drafted well here. I don't think he drafted well here. Everybody fell into his lap. Who else were you going to take in that draft over than Cade? Maybe Evan Mobley, but no, you were taking Cade. Yeah. Okay, Ivy pick. You were going to take Ivy at that point. The Thompson twins, it was either whichever one got drafted first. Yeah. So.
And his first draft, remember the infamous, I'm going to take Killian Hayes over Tyrese Halliburton? What are we doing? So
Killian Hayes, Sadiq Bey, Sabian Lee, yeah, terrible.
And Isaiah Stewart, who's the only one still on the team. And
that's the only thing I'll give him props for trading up to get Isaiah Stewart. That's the only thing he's done. But, like, if you look at it, like, Troy Weaver compared to Brad Holmes, oh my gosh, light years ahead. Dude. Like, I'm keeping it in perspective of, like, Detroit teams. Yeah. You could even put Scott Harris up there, too, if you wanted to, because Scott Harris, I mean, he hasn't done too bad. No. I mean, look at it. So, even Steve, I mean, Stevie Y, he hasn't done too bad either. So.
It's taking a while, but, like, he's doing well.
Yeah.
They're good.
No, I just saw that, and I thought it'd be so funny. I was like, I don't know what they're thinking, bro.
I did not see that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's hilarious.
Well, the funny part is because, too, is like Langdon, who just came in literally this past offseason, signed Malik Beasley, who's like the second best player on the team already. And I was like, so, like, he's the one that's doing all whatever. Okay.
He had a chance to bring in vets, and he didn't do it. He brought in Kevin Knox.
He brought in Kevin Knox and Marvin Bagley.
Yeah. James Wiseman.
That's the guys we need.
Stephen A. was led astray. He didn't know what he was talking about. He was bamboozled.
My goodness. So yeah, that was just the Piston stuff. Before we get too further in, just want to talk obviously NBA. Got a couple look at the playoffs. We're about I think 20 games left, so only about a month and a couple weeks left from the playoffs. Play-in picture is kind of clear, at least for the top. I'd say 3 teams in each conference, really. And then you got the rest. That's kind of figuring out. And Grant, I saw you because the West, I guess, could change.
West is tough. I mean, the West top is pretty tough right there. I know you saw the Lakers sitting at that 2 seed now.
Unfortunate. Wait. let's just real quick. Who's in and who's out? All the playoffs. Who do you think? And we can talk play-in too. So if it's like they go to the play-in and then go to the playoffs, and we can.
That counts too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do East or West first?
Doesn't matter to me. You let me know where you want to start.
All right. Let's go East first because I think that's easier. I think there's way less here. Okay. So my prediction right now, I think the top 6 are going to be the top 6. So Cleveland, Boston, New York, Milwaukee, Indiana, Detroit. I think those are pretty, if not locked, like should be locked 6. Order, I think 3 through 6 could manipulate a little bit, but I think Cleveland's going to be 1, Boston going to be 2, and the rest are there. I think Orlando makes it. I know offensively, they're just the worst. Like, they have no offensive firepower in the slightest, it feels like. But defensively, I think they're good enough to beat some of these bad play-in teams, just to lose in, like, maybe 4 games, if not 5, to the top 2 teams. And then my last team, I'm going to take Atlanta to squeak in over the Heat would be like my 9, just because of Trae Young. I think Trae Young, what he's doing offensively with Dyson Daniels and some of the other guys that they have there, has been really, really impressive. And I think that Jimmy Butler trade kind of sucked some of the energy out of Miami. And so I think Atlanta's going to squeak in and kind of be an annoyance to, like, if they play Cleveland, like, they would be an annoyance to Cleveland. Probably not beat them, but, like, 5-6 games, like, an annoying little, like, tick that they have to get through. So that's my 8.
Yeah. No, I like that. I would, agree with all of that. Honestly, I see Atlanta, Miami. I don't think they have it anymore, in them. Orlando, like, yeah, they should make it, but I don't know. Especially if they play Boston. If they get the 7th seed, they play Boston. That might be a sweep. Orlando last year was good and intrigued. And, a couple weeks ago, I was intrigued by them. I will say I did say that on the pod. But, like, it's just the Jalen Suggs. They really needed him. I feel like now that he's most likely going to be out for the season, I don't know. Unless Franz and Paulo kind of turn around, I'm not really sure. So yeah, that's kind of my picks for the East right there.
Yeah, I don't love 7 through 10, by the way. Like, none of those teams I think are, like, very good, but, like, 2 more teams have to make it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with 100% the same thing. 1 through 6, I just don't see any way that the Heat or any team below that catches up to that 6th seed there. So I think that's pretty much locked in. Like you mentioned, I can see maybe some movement from that 3 to 6, just kind of looking at it there. I think the Knicks are probably locked in more or less at the 3 spot there. I think it's going to be more like the 4 through 6 right there. But yeah, in terms of like that 7 through 10, really, like I don't really see the Bulls doing anything. I think the Hawks would take care of business there if that were the case. The Magic and Heat one, I go back and forth on. Again, like you mentioned, the Magic just aren't too healthy at the moment, but also at the same time, the Heat don't really. I don't know. I just feel like they have no life anymore. It's just kind of it's all got deflated from them. But I can still see them beating that Magic team. I go 50-50 on that one. That's the one where I'm not 100% sure, but I see the Hawks at least making the next play-in game to get that 7 or 8 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess because you did say something about Orlando offensively. The play-in's only one game. Miami, all you need is a big game from Kel'el Ware, and they're kind of used to it. They're used to playing in these big games in the play-ins and things like that and winning. It very well could happen that Miami, sneaks in as the 7th seed. Do I think they give Boston problems this time? Probably not. It's probably a sweep, unfortunately. But yeah,
I agree. I don't think really any of those teams. The Hawks only just because of Trae Young is the only reason I'd say they might, like you said. I think that was literally the perfect analogy for it. Just like a little tick, where like that's just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll lose. Like I don't see either the Cavs or Celtics losing, but like definitely something to kind of like keep your eyes peeled for, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible. The West, let's get the West.
Yeah.
The West is crazy. Obviously, a lot can change next week if someone's listening to this. So, like, who knows? But I think really all the 10 teams that are in, I think they get into playoffs playing or whatnot. I don't think any of that changes.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's just going to depend on really, except for OKC, who's going to be where. Because I think Denver, yes, the Lakers are number 2 right now and being great. I think Denver can very well jump up the 2 seed and the Lakers get the 3 seed. So
yeah, I'm with you. The only one because of such unfortunate events, I think Dallas falls out. They're the 10 right now technically. I think they're like 2 games ahead Phoenix right now. I think because of Kyrie's injury and literally no one being available for them at all, I think Phoenix will take that 10 spot. But I'm with you, the rest of the 10, switching Dallas and Phoenix right now, I think that's the 10 that makes it as well.
I kind of like Dallas. I think, real quick, before I let you go, Grant, I think Max Christie can kind of carry that team. Just because Phoenix is kind of like, okay, yeah, they won, the other last night against the Clippers, comeback win. Okay, it's the Clippers at this point, so I'm not.
Yes, it's so funny.
But I don't know. It depends on how you see that chemistry.
My only worry is the injury bug. Like, they don't have either center. He's not playing. PJ Washington's out. Like, they just have so many injuries. Kyrie's out for the rest of the year now and maybe next year. So with all the injuries stacked on, I just think it's going to be like a Herculean task to beat anyone of any resemblance. Which is why Phoenix being healthy, I just think they're just going to win more games than Dallas down the stretch. But
yeah,
it could be right.
Yeah, no, I mean, do we know how long Anthony Davis is out for? Because at the end of the day, I think if he's able to get back, I mean, relatively soon, because again, like you said, we're approaching like the 20-game mark until like the season's over. But I think if he can come back for it at all, I would put the Mavericks still at that 10 spot there. I've lost trust in the Suns now. Really, like we talked about it earlier. It's just something there is just not like it's just they're not deep. They don't have necessarily the most talent. I mean, again, they have a couple guys you can say that are definitely talented on the roster. Like, in comparison, I think the Mavs, in my opinion, probably hold down that 10 spot and go up against potentially your Clippers there, Sean. Which that could be interesting there for you.
I'd like that. I'd actually like that.
You're a Clippers fan. I would love that too.
I would
love that.
I would like that for you.
That's a free win right there. I think that's a free win if y'all play them.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said something about AD. I think he's out. I think I saw something from Shams pretty much that said like he could be done.
If he's done like the rest of the season, then
So
that does change some things for
he
him.
was supposed to be out to the middle of March, but because Kyrie got hurt and the team, I think that he might just shut it down the rest of the year. And I'm taking it as he shuts it down for the rest of the year. And if he shuts it down, I think they're toast. If AD comes back, you could talk me into it. But
yeah, no, I would agree 100%. Because like Sean, you mentioned Max Christie, and yes, like he'll probably still be putting up his numbers, but at the end of the day, like it's Max Christie, like no disrespect, but like yeah, like it's like you're talking about a team that's got Kevin Durant and Booker on that team.
Yeah.
So I just think regardless, like if that's the case, which it kind of does sound like it, then yeah, if it like especially with the Kyrie news, that was tragic. But yeah, I think with that being said, if AD is out the whole season or they shut him down, or either or, I could see the Suns making that bounce up to that 10 seed for sure.
Would you be worried about that, Sean?
You gotta be a little worried. Hair's got to be
guess.
standing up. Hair's got to be standing up.
I mean, I wish the Clippers weren't the 9 seed in the first place. They had so many opportunities to be. I mean, realistically, if they were serious, they should be the 5 seed right now because of the way the Rockets are falling down. But yeah, one loss and basically you drop 3 spots in the standings.
See, I don't think you guys stay at that 9 seed though. I think you guys jump the Kings, potentially the Timberwolves. I don't know if you'll jump Timberwolves. I think you'll stay right at that 8 seed. But yeah, I think you guys will pass the Kings in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope so.
You better.
I don't have much hope anymore. I don't care what happens with the Clippers season. Whatever, even if they make the playoffs, it's a first round exit. Unless we saw like Memphis or Houston, then yeah, I'd pick the Clippers. But yeah, it's shocked. I've now just moved on to all Pistons playoff. I'm for the Pistons playoffs now. So I got one team.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, hey, I had to admit it.
I was gonna come on this pot. So when I was going through all the teams during the day today to get ready for this, the one I just have no read on was the Clippers, and I knew you're like the Clippers guy that I know, so I was gonna be like, talk me into the Clippers. Doesn't sound like you're about to.
He talked you out of them.
Mike, I wish I could, but it's post All-Star break that has just really post trade deadline that it's been just a turn of events. We did a podcast before the break started. So basically after the games, the second half of the season started. Yeah. And I said the 10 games, the first 10 games coming out of the break matter the most.
Uh-huh.
We've won 2 games and we still have 3 left. I'm assuming, as we're recording this on March 5th, they lose against the Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
So especially, I mean, and that's the thing too. Norman Powell, who's having a great season, our only scorer, out for the next 2 weeks at least. Like, why? Yeah, he's playing good. He's starting to get back to form, but I mean, it's not going to do you good. James Harden is running to the ground and his legs are shot. He can't do anything anymore, and the rest of the roster is just trash. So I can't talk you into it.
That's tough. Okay. Yeah,
first round exit. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I really needed someone to try because I was like, they're the only team. Like I have good opinions on everyone else. Clippers, I was like, I don't watch enough Clippers. I don't know anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, there you go. If you would have asked me, before the All-Star break, during the All-Star break, yeah, all on them, because they exceeded expectations. I was like, dude, yeah, they could possibly do something.
Mm-hmm.
What a turn of 2 weeks, right? It can do. So it's just crazy. We don't got to talk about the trash. Sorry, Clippers. We don't need to talk about them. Mike, as we talk about the league, let me get your MVP and your champion pick. Grant, you can buttle off this too.
Okay. So, if you guys have ever, this is more of to the audience talk, right? If you guys know my opinions on sports, I'm going to say this, and you both are going to go, oh, Michael, and I'm going to say, because it happens all the time, I think Jokic should be the MVP. I think it's going to be SGA. Like, the odds say SGA, everything says SGA. Like, if you're going to vote the way that they've been voting for MVP the last, 6 or 7 years, it's Jokic. I don't know what's going to change. And I say that, so last year, Luka, and this is more of a Luka defense than anything, Luka averaged, on great shooting, was 3rd in MVP voting to the guy who averaged 26, 12, and 8. And I was like, So Luka's not the best player. Cool. And it was because they were like the 5 seed and they were giving all these different reasons, whatever. And so then I was sitting here this year and I go, okay, then Jokic this year, again, is at 29, 13, and 10. He's averaging a triple-double like Russell Westbrook did when he won his MVP. He's doing all this stuff, and SGA is the league leader in points. He's at like 32, and he's at 32, 7, and 7, or 32, 6, and 8, or something. And I go, 34, 9, and 9 can't get you an MVP. How does 32, 6, and 6 get you an MVP? So, to my last year to this year logic, I go, how is the guy averaging a triple-double who no one can guard offensively not be the MVP? But somehow SGA is going to win it. So my pick would be Jokic, but I know they're going to give it to SGA.
You know, I will apologize that I kind of closed my eyes and stuff because I thought you were going to say LeBron. The way that started, I thought you was about to come out here and try to spew some LeBron nonsense. So my bad.
No, you're good. I knew that's probably what you thought I was going to say, so that's why I kept it going for a minute. I was like,
ain't no way. I mean, no. But
no.
I mean, that's a great point though that you bring up.
Yeah, it's just things like that bother me about the MVP voting. So
I've been the MVP voting for me. It's just I don't even it doesn't even matter anymore. It's just who's like, oh, he didn't get it last year. We'll give it to him the next year if he has a good year. That's my whole thing with this. To the point now where it's like it's not even like I don't mind if some guy were to win it 6 years in a row, but he truly deserved it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But they'll just never do that. They just won't do it because it's just they're gonna get tired of it. It's just it's MVP fatigue, vote, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm just it's so at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think Shea doesn't deserve it. I think he's definitely in my opinion, I think leading your team to this good a record too. That's also part of why I think in the West I personally I like to have him at the MVP. I think he does deserve it. I don't think it's one of those things where oh, he didn't get it last year, so we just have to give it to him this year. I think he's definitely went out and deserved it. He deserves it this year. But yeah, I to your point, 110%. The MVP voting is just a joke nowadays, really.
Yeah, and so I have this thing where I think every single year outside of the first year Jokic won it, I think they've gotten every single one wrong. And so I think if we take back his first MVP, I think he should have won in 2021. It was right after the bubble. I think that one he should have won. I think the 2022 one, he was the 6th seed, and they gave it to him because everyone else got hurt. LeBron got hurt, KD got hurt, everyone got hurt, and they were like, he's really good, so we'll give it to him. I think that's the one Chris Paul should have won when they were the 1 seed and they were killing everybody. Then 2023, the one he won the championship when Joel Embiid won, I think Jokic should have won that one. That one to me is a travesty that he didn't win, only because this guy averaged 2 more points than him, decided to get it. And I was like, okay. I was like, one guy is averaging 32, 13, and 10, and Joel Embiid was out here at 34, 12, and 4. And I was like, one is so much better than the other, but we gave it to Joel Embiid because we didn't want a guy to win 3 in a row, like you said. So then, going into last year, I was like, I think Luka should win. And then Jokic won. So I every year I just look at it and I go, I think a different person should win than who ends up winning. So maybe I'm just not the right person to ask for MVP because I'm just out of it apparently.
No, I agree. I mean, if you look at it, it's kind of been like that really since we was in high school. We're all the same age, so it was really about that time. Especially when what was it, the year that James Harden won it, and yeah, he should have won it. So
I think voter fatigue really hit hard when LeBron did the 4 and 5 years when Derrick Rose won the middle one, but he won the 2 before and 2 after, and then people were just I don't want to vote for people multiple years in a row, so they went outside of Steph, and Steph only got it because of the 73 win team. That's why he got the unanimous one. They went different MVPs every single year from 13 till Giannis did the back-to-back in 19. So I just think that we were all of a sudden we were doing this voter fatigue where it was we don't want to vote for the same guy over and over again, and all of a sudden now Jokic is out here and everyone's like, well, you're Jokic.
I don't either, to be honest with you. I guess I see it now because I've witnessed it firsthand a couple times. Like he's good. He's definitely the best big in the league. I will say that now. I was under the impression that Embiid was better, but now seeing it, I guess Jokic is a little
Like
bit better. But
offensively, okay. Where do you guys stand on Luka? Because this matters to me.
Like in terms of like being a top player in the
Yeah,
league?
like a top player guy. Like, does the defense bother you? Does the defense take you down a notch or no?
It definitely like does a little bit, but like when your offense is also that good, I kind of give it a pass if I'm being honest. 100%.
Okay, because I look at Jokic and I go, his defense is not very good. We saw it against the Timberwolves last year, where Cat was just dicing him up, and Gobert was dicing him up. Gobert's never diced up anyone in his life, and he was out here dicing him up. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, so Jokic doesn't play defense. He's an offensive phenom. He has 3 MVPs. How is Luka, his highest MVP vote count was 3rd?
Yeah,
He's
he definitely should have won it for sure. I'm with you 100%.
Like, I guess to me, I don't see a difference between the two. Like, one's a guard, one's a center. That's the only difference I see. But yet, everyone is like, no, this guy's deservedly a 3-time MVP, and Luka doesn't even get votes. And I just don't know. I just don't see a difference. Am I crazy?
No,
No,
the
I
voting
think- no.
process doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense anywhere in the NBA, to be honest with you. With All-Stars, with all NBA teams, defense team, it doesn't make sense anymore because like now, like those are all positionalists. Like I completely forgot about that, but like why? Like you got to be the best at your position. But if you're not the best at your position, then I think it all ties in with just the generation under us. They got to just have participation trophies for everything and things like that. Can't own up like a man, but that's
When they added the Eastern and Western Conference MVP award like 3 years ago, I literally was like, so we're just going to give an award for anything.
Yeah, showing up to the game.
Yeah, you guys showed up and played basketball. Good job, guys. Like,
Yeah,
that one was crazy. I was like, if this award came out in 2010, LeBron literally would have 8 of them. Like, they would mean so little.
I feel that same way about the what is it, the clutch player year award? Like what?
You have the
Like,
most
we
clutch
give
points in
awards
the year.
for for scoring the most points in the 5 minutes or less of the game. Like, come on now. And that's the thing too. 5 minutes, like in an NBA game these days, a lot can happen in 5 minutes. It can be a 15-point turnaround. All you have to do is be down 15 points every game, come back and score 30 points. You're gonna get the comeback player of the year award. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
These awards are unbelievable. It's just
as Kobe said, job's not finished. Like
Job's
not
exactly.
finished. Like why are we celebrating for like? It's like like at the end of the day, like you're the best. Like I don't get it. I just don't get it at all. It's gone soft now, and it's that's why it's like I used to be way more into the NBA. Like I definitely still watch nowadays, obviously, but like it's not like it used to be. It's not like I'm sitting down for like every single game every night watching everything start to finish. It's just not the way it goes. Like, It's kind of sad to see that because like I loved the NBA like growing up. It was awesome. I still definitely like it, but it's like I'd rather watch college basketball. If I'm being honest with you nowadays. This is my take on it.
Yeah. No, it's just I get it's just a lot that kind of I guess it's changed, with the league. And it's only been, if you think about it, really in the last 8 years? 2018 is when we done with high school. So yeah, like after that, that's really when it changed because like you were growing up and stuff, it was still, the same. You had multiple people, multiple teams, rivalries. You don't have that anymore,
Which event do you think ruined the NBA more? Not by a product standpoint, but by not by a game standpoint, by like as like a viewer standpoint. Was the LeBron decision or the KD joining the Warriors?
I think it was the KD joining the Warriors because that's when, number one, teams started copying the Warriors and were like, oh, well, now you have to have about 4 or 5 dudes be on a team to compete. KD goes to the best team in the league, then all of a sudden, they're a juggernaut. So you thinking, okay, yeah, they're gonna go 73-9 every year, almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that had to kind of play a part in it, just because it was like, yeah, now you have all these, different players trying to team up, and then following that, I think the CBA, when they changed all of that and made it harder for teams to team up and things, and they go a bunch and change it, I think that kind of ruined it too. And then lastly, the fact that players that are 7th, 8th man on the team getting paid $100 million for 2 years to do nothing, or you got players, that are getting paid all the money and don't play at all, because they're hurt. So
Yeah, I would say the same. Like I think like LeBron's decision definitely didn't help by any means. Like, but I wouldn't say that's like the end all because like with Kevin Durant to the Warriors, it was like I mean that was a team. I think in my opinion it kind of got rid of like a little bit of like the competition aspect of it. Like yes, LeBron he went and joined the Miami Heat and all that, which I totally get. But it was like Kevin Durant was up 3-1 against that Warriors team, lost, and then was like, you know what, I'm gonna go join that team. And like for me, it's just like where's like the competitive edge to like go like do so? That'd be like it'd be the same thing if like LeBron went and joined that Boston Celtics team back in the day. Like it just like again, LeBron's decision was maybe not the greatest, like teaming up for some of those guys, but like it wasn't like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors after a team that just beat him that he was already up, blew a 3-1 lead against, and then joined them. Like that's for me, it was just, I mean, the definition of soft, if you will, and it definitely like set the tone for the NBA to like, again, just like these rivalries and everything there, like competitive edge. It's just not there.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that was my least interested I've ever been in the NBA was that 3-year stretch. Because it was every year it was, all right, so let's wait till the finals of Cavs Warriors. And then everyone knew, okay, Cavs don't really have a chance, but like they're the only team that's maybe good enough to try.
Yeah.
And
No,
so
exactly.
it just wasn't fun. And so I think that the 3-ball revolution hasn't helped a lot. I don't think people love watching people jack up threes a game. Especially when like Anthony Edwards starts doing it, you're like, why are you doing it?
well, that's the thing too. Like that's gonna be how the league is. I mean, it is the same thing in college. If you look at it now, everyone's shooting threes. So the mid range and going in, like dunking on people, always is gonna be there. Layups, it's always gonna be. But like mid range shots, like how many teams really take mid range shots and zones? Unless you watch college basketball, how many times do you see a zone anymore? Like it's literally just hey, get back, get out of man, and hopefully they don't shoot a three. And that's kind of the game right now because you got Boston that's shooting what 50, 60 threes a game, making half of them, and then yeah, well that's the game. You're gonna lose by 30 at this point if you can't shoot 3s.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of has a part to play in it, but I think just I wouldn't say it's really one thing. I'd say it's just a combination of things that have kind of happened and people have kind of gotten used to over the last, I'd say, 6-7 years that have kind of really like just changed how one, people view the league and kind of two, how the league kind of just goes about things. This caters both of you. So LeBron, got 50,000 points, first in the league, first to ever do it. Probably the only one to do it, unless something happens in the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Does longevity matter now in like the GOAT debate? Because now like I'm seeing people on Twitter say, oh yeah, like there is no debate anymore, right? Like 50,000 points, nobody's gonna do it. Bron is the GOAT. But then you got other people that still like, nah, Jordan, 6 finals, 6 rings, da. And if you go to other sports, longevity, it's talked about a little bit. You look at Tom Brady, but he, consistently won and he has all the rings, the most in NFL history. So I just wanted to kind of get, you guys' thoughts on, does it matter? I know obviously you guys both think that LeBron James is, the GOAT. Does longevity play a part in it too now?
Well, I mean, I think it always does. I think it's a small part of the pie, as you would. Like, I think people that are like, oh, he's at 50,000 points, he's the GOAT, is just wrong. Like, I think, like, if that's your baseline, then you're just wrong. But I also think, and I know we've had these discussions plenty of times, Sean, 6 for 6, that's all that matters, is also just wrong. Like, I think there's a through line of peaks, longevity, accolades. I think a lot of it goes in, and I think some people weigh more on accolades, or some people have more on peaks, and some people care more about longevity. And so, like for me, I'm a Brady's the GOAT guy, because I think he has the longevity, but he also has the winning, and he also has the records, and he has accolades, and he has the 4 MVPs, regular season MVPs, he has the 4 Super Bowl MVP. Like, he has a little bit of everything. I think LeBron's the GOAT because he has rings, he has the 4 MVPs, he has longevity, he has, all this stuff that goes into it, but I don't think longevity is the marking. I don't think it's not even the biggest piece of my pie. It's probably like the third biggest piece of my pie.
Well, what's the biggest, if you don't mind me asking? And Grant, let me get your thoughts.
I'm a peaks guy.
Okay.
So I look at like, I don't even think it's like 1 year peak. I look at like a 5-year peak maybe. Like, were you like, how good were you in X amount of time in a peak?
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest piece of my pie. Then accolades, and then probably longevity. Longevity is hard because some guys are awesome. Like if Mahomes retired tomorrow, we would all agree that he's like the second or third best quarterback ever, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he's
he's
up there, right? And he's only played 7 years. Like Montana's played 14, Manning played 15, Brady played 20, but he'd still be up there. Like longevity is not all of it, but it does help your argument when you get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. Like at the end of the day, like it has to matter at the end of the day, like especially if you're sustaining like the type of play you are throughout your whole entire career, like we're seeing with LeBron specifically. But like you said, like it's not like the end all be all. It's definitely not like, okay, just because you played 20 years, you gotta be up there on the list. Like that's not at all what it is. It's really more or less, if you are playing these 20 years, can you actually still keep that same edge? And like you mentioned, I think peaks is a perfect way to describe that. That's personally why I think personally LeBron's the GOAT in that way, because again, like his peak has been literally since he like joined the league. Like he hasn't really had like a downfall by any means whatsoever. Like he just hasn't. Like he's played at a high level like pace of play like the whole entire time he's been in the league there. So like with that being said, like the peak, I mean obviously he's got the championships to go with it. We talked about how that Warriors team was there, and obviously it just wasn't even fair. So you gotta think too, like if he's getting the other rings on top of that too, like we might not even be having a conversation because he might already be at 6 there. So it's like with that, like yes, like longevity has to matter 100%, especially when he's playing the way he is, and especially like for example, like you mentioned Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady looked phenomenal even toward the end stretch of his career there. So it's like yes, it has to matter, but like you mentioned, it's definitely not the end all be all because he played 20 years whatnot. Like Vince Carter, for example, he played forever. Like he was a phenomenal guy. He's not, I'd say in the top, definitely not like top 15, top 20 in the NBA. But like, yeah, he's got the longevity to show that that definitely matters a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how long is a freaking like Joakim Noah? He was in the league forever. I feel like, but like at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter. It's like he didn't have the stats, nothing like that to back it up by any means whatsoever. So it's like, yeah, you can play like in the league for a while. You can be. I mean, Jamal Crawford was in the league for a while.
Dog, my man Udonis Haslem, I think, is still in the league. The Miami Heat guy.
Udonis Haslem is a perfect example.
No, he's done.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he was at the end of the bench, I think, in their finals run.
Yeah, he was just there. He was just there to pick up a technical if needed to be.
Yeah,
get fired up,
run into someone's legs or something. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like you said, it cannot be the end all be all, but it has to have some impact. No.
Sean, are you a rings guy? Is that why you gave me a smirk when I said that?
Yeah, I am a rings guy.
Okay.
Especially just when it comes to like when you think about it, in like the wrestling world or like the boxing, you like fighting. There's only one debate, if you have the titles and all that stuff. You can have a flawless record, but if you have a flawless record and lose every title game, it doesn't really matter, right? So I think it should be the same for every sport. I'm not going to say that to be the top of the top, you got to have 7, 8 rings. You got to win it all because obviously you got to factor in injuries and team sports. So it's not just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it definitely has a say in how good and how people kind of view you. And especially I think it does something for, I guess, can't think of the word. I guess not just career, but like lifelong. Like how are people gonna remember your name, things like that.
Okay, I have a follow up to this, but if you have something else to add, you can add on.
No, I was just gonna say, just thinking about it, like Curry, for example, were to win another ring, people are gonna say like, oh yeah, best point guard, just because of how many rings he got. So it's things like that. So yeah, I kind of hold rings pretty high.
You might not be as big as a football guy. I know it's a basketball pod, so I don't want to stray too far from the reign. Who's your GOAT quarterback?
Tom Brady, for sure.
So, does him losing bother you? And I only ask and I'm not throwing you out here into this pond that you're like this. But there are a lot of people I talk to where rings matter a lot, and I go, okay, cool. And then they're like, oh, but Brady's my GOAT. And I go, but he's lost 3 times. And they go, and I go, Joe Montana, 4 for 4 in Super Bowls, never threw an interception. Like, he's the epitome of when I make it to the game, I raise my game and win. But Joe Montana's always like 5th on their list. And I go, I don't like, there's a little disconnect there for me where I go, so Brady can lose, but Montana's perfect, but then LeBron can't lose. Jordan's perfect. Like, do you see where I'm coming from on that?
Yeah. So I guess, the losing part, like, so I'll be honest here because I say it for LeBron. Yeah, it matters a little bit, but it just depends on like how many times you've been. So like if you've been there, let's say Brady for example, you've been there 10 times, you
Mhm.
win 70%. Okay, that's not bad. LeBron, for example, 4 for 6. I mean, 20%. That's not really a good look. So I kind of think of it as you can go and you can get to the top game, but like, if you're just gonna get there and just lose every year, like what does it really matter, Because you're not gonna be remembered for, oh yeah, you made the championship game this year, but you lost, right? Okay. So
Okay, so a follow up question I have then, and I'm not trying to throw shade or anything. This is straight up asking. Would you have rather LeBron have lost to like the rookie Boston Celtics or the Paul George Pacer teams? Like, would that have been better for his legacy to lose to like the 60-win Hawks team or those Toronto teams, or lose in the finals to the KD Warriors?
so see, when you say it like that, it's like,
That's my only argument against it. Is I go, I understand your point where it's like when you get there you lose, but at the
yeah.
same time I go, so you're telling me that it would be better to lose in the first or second round than make it to the finals? That one doesn't compute in my brain
So
that way.
let's keep it on the topic of LeBron.
Mhm.
The series against the Mavericks, they should have
Awful.
won that series.
Absolutely should have won.
They should have won that series.
Mhm.
The second one,
So
series they had,
the first series he lost was the San Antonio series in 2007.
Oh, 07, yeah.
now the Spurs were just the better team.
And Varejao was your second best player. Like,
Right.
Not
so
like you're
that
gonna
one I don't hold against.
Okay. Okay.
The Mavericks, yes, I
Bad.
hold against.
All time bad. Absolutely. I agree.
That was bad.
Yeah.
The Spurs the second time, I don't really hold against them because it was bound to happen that the Spurs are going to win. I think the same thing as, Golden State when he won it in 2016. Golden State, yes, they had the 3-1 lead. They were the best team and things like that, But like, did everyone really think it was going to be that storybook of an ending and things like that? I mean, I didn't think, down 3-1 that he was going to be able to do it.
Mm-mm.
And that, I think, holds just a lot of weight itself because, well, he's the only one that's done it. So I think that kind of equals out some of his losses. And then, right? Yeah, that's.
So then the other 3 Warriors losses, like, would you have rather him lose early than in the finals?
I mean, the other 3, 2018, they shouldn't even been there. I don't think that they should have been there. I think Boston should have been there that year. And then, the other 3 years that they played with the other year that they played the Warriors, I mean, like 2017, everybody knew coming out of it that Kevin Durant and the Warriors were gonna win that series. I mean, it didn't matter.
So and so I guess that's just my only argument for the LeBron side is I'll give you Dallas 100. Like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna be like, no, he played so well, but they lost. Like, no, he was awful. Like, I get it, he was awful. But all of the other times I go, would you rather him just lost in the second round? Like, is that what people would really want? Like, I'm sure that like as a Clippers fan, you would love if your team made it to the finals 3 times in a row and lost all of them, than not make the finals.
I mean, when you put it like that, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's that's just my only argument for the rings thing is I just don't know where you want him. If he's not going to beat the 2018 Warriors, where do you want him to lose?
I guess so. Yeah, no. I honestly, I guess I never thought about it like that. I guess I'm just that much of a LeBron hater that I don't think about it.
So, listen,
Now it's coming out.
no, I know. And listen, if it's your preference that Jordan's the GOAT, whatnot, like I'm not gonna, I'm probably not gonna change your mind on anything, obviously. But it's just something that whenever I talk to people and they're like, oh, well, like he's lost 6 times, I go, okay, then where should he have lost? And everyone's like, well, he could have lost in the second round of Toronto, and I go, so you could kill him more? You know what I mean?
Well,
Would you?
so I would put him like if I was an unbiased basketball person, I'd
Mhm.
put him 1. But I just have never liked LeBron, so I put
Okay.
him 2.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he was 3, until
Yeah, crazy.
he got the scoring record. I had Kobe before him just out of spite.
No.
But
Yeah.
I still have Kobe at 3 though. I still think Kobe is a top 5 player.
Okay.
I will not be convinced otherwise. But
Sean, I can't ride with you on this one either.
Oh, trust me, I cooked him up real good. We had a podcast way back in the day that was we debated LeBron versus Kobe, and that was probably like an hour and a half long video, and it was good.
I don't want to get too much into it because I know we've been here for a while already, but I just don't have a lot on okay, so here's the funny part about the Kobe one is the series that everyone shoots at LeBron at for being the worst is the Dallas series, right?
He got swept.
Kobe got swept in that series.
He got swept.
Like 2 rounds earlier. So I'm like, so you're saying LeBron's the lowest of low, and Kobe got swept by that same team? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just a tough argument.
Think about it. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it like that.
That's
But
what
I'm just it's a fair if you're a Kobe guy. I think Kobe's top 10 easy. He sits at like 6 or 7 for me, but
See, I'm with you there. That's my whole thing too. Speaking on the whole LeBron thing too, it's like they give him so much crap for making the finals and losing, but I'm like he made the finals. Like at the end of the day, like he did that. Like, you want him to lose in the very first round. Like
yeah.
I think that hurts way more in my opinion. Like
yeah, like I look at like Mahomes and I go, so he lost to the Eagles and everyone's making fun of him, and I'm like, you know who no one's making fun of? Josh Allen, who lost the round before him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
it doesn't compute with.
It doesn't with me either. So I don't know.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. We beat the dead horse on this one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can keep going. That's fine.
It's just I still like that. That's some good points because honestly, I never thought about it from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm still gonna be a Jordan guy, and like biasedly, like I'm always going to put Kobe above LeBron no matter what. Just because Kobe stayed with one team. And did it all, by himself with all-star teammates, without all-star teammates. LeBron even had to go shop for everybody at this point,
Shop for Luka too.
Yeah, he's got Luka now, so it's like, dude, you just shopping at this point for whoever you can kind of go with. So that's why I've kind of, I guess, always had against LeBron. Because even like it was funny. Like I guess I wasn't a fan of like the Heat, but like I was a fan of like D Wade. I was a D Wade fan, so like because that's when like the Pistons were kind of like starting to fall off. So I was like, okay, I got to pick somebody, and it was like D Wade.
Yeah,
this was kind of before I got in like my Clippers era because that's when they were that was Blake rookie. So yeah,
jumping over cars.
Yeah. So it was starting, to get to like okay, like now in full blown Clippers, but at that time, it was like yeah, I kind of like the Heat, but it was only because really like D Wade. So like D Wade and Mario Chalmers. I did like Mario Chalmers.
I love Mario.
I liked him in college.
Okay, what would you guys? What's your dream finals? Take bias out of it. Take like your favorite team bias out of it. Like, what's your dream finals
for this year? Dream finals.
Like, what do you guys like?
Put your favorite team in it?
I mean, you can, but
I have a hard time being not.
But like, what's like the matchup that you would be like? I'm locked in for this, and you can say one for like your favorite team, and then say one that you think just in general that you would be like a fan of, if that's how to separate it.
Okay.
See, mine is going to be kind of biased, but it's also not because like at the end of the day, I'd be so locked in to see the Lakers play just because also like Luka getting the real chance to actually get there. Like I think that too. I mean, obviously LeBron. Like at the end of the day, it's still a little biased, but like
sure.
Like I actually do generally enjoy watching this team. Like I like watching like the offensive showcase that they put on there. From the East though, that's tough. I mean, Lakers Celtics would obviously go hard for sure, just because also like the history with it there. Like I think that speaks volume too. Like especially since the Celtics are up like one championship in terms of like all time too. So like I'd be very locked in for that series for sure. Like no doubt about that. And it is a little biased, but at the same time like not too biased because I want to see Luka back in the final. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give you two. Without my favorite team, I'm gonna say, and this is for rivalry only purposes. I want to see a Pistons Lakers finals. I think that would be very good.
Okay.
I think it'd be on par with like it. Well, not as much, but I think it'd still be like nostalgia there with like Boston and LA, like Lakers. I think that would still be there. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like for viewers, like if it's a Celtics Lakers finals, everyone's going to be watching that just because it's the Celtics and the Lakers.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
it'd be the same pretty much if it was like the Lakers and the Pistons. I think that would be like,
four right there.
yeah, no, that would be kind of cool. My dream would be with the Clippers, and I don't care whoever from
Anybody.
anybody.
Give me anybody. What about you?
Okay, I'm gonna take you on a ride for a second, and I'll land it
Okay.
with my team.
Okay.
So, 2019 Raptors. Kawhi Leonard wins the championship, and everyone labels him best player on the planet. All right, so we have him labeled. And I was like, okay, he's awesome. And then he goes to the Clippers. Don't talk about it. But, like, stuff happens. I feel like this. I swear this wasn't a shot at you, but it's really funny. It turned into one. So then we sat from like 2020 to 2021 without really like a best player in the world, because Kawhi obviously kind of like fell off on that one, and I don't think anyone really believed LeBron could be the best player at like 37 years old. And AD was still injury prone, hit or miss, whatever. So we were waiting for that guy. And then the 2021 finals happen, and Giannis puts the 50 burger in Game 6 up against the Suns, and everyone goes, there you go. Best player on the planet. 2 years later, so Giannis wins 2 MVPs, then wins the championship. So he's labeled best player on the planet. That same year he wins the championship, Jokic wins his first MVP. Then he wins 2 MVPs in a row. Third year wins his championship. So now they're both at two MVPs and a championship with a finals MVP. Now they stack up right now. Jokic has 3 MVPs, championship, finals MVP. Giannis has 2 MVPs, defensive player of the year, and championship with finals MVP. And Jokic is proclaimed right now as best player in the world. As like a wrestling fan, best player in the world versus best player in the world, Giannis versus Jokic. Milwaukee versus Denver. So you have those two guarding each other and playing on each other because they're both the bigs on the team. And then, secondary, Damian Lillard versus Jamal Murray. Light show. They're both going for like 50 every single night. Tell me if that series goes 7, that would be like the most electric series you'd see.
I think that would be a nice series. Only thing is, I'd want to see that Bucks team and the
23 Nuggets
team.
Yeah.
That's
That'd be
that's the teams I'd want to see. Like I see like what you're saying, like the matchup between Jokic and Giannis. Yeah, I'd want to see that because that's 2 big dudes going at it, and they can do anything. But yeah, no, it'd be pretty fun.
And I feel like we missed it because we had Kobe from 8 to 10 in the finals, and he fell off the second LeBron decided to actually go to the finals and go to the 8 straight. Like, they never played each other, so we never got, like, best. Like, the best you got was, like, Duncan and LeBron for 2 years, and then you got KD overstacked team versus LeBron for 2 years. Yeah. But, like, you never really got, like, best versus best. Giannis versus Jokic to decide, basically title on the line of who's the best player in the world would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. No.
I agree 100%. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Dang. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, because I mean, there's a lot. I mean, kind of think about that. I guess like this would have been a dream finals just a couple years ago, 2021, when the Bucks made it. But the Nets should have won really, and then the West, the Clippers should have beat the Suns. Clippers.
Why KD?
Yes.
That would have been good too. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been great because yes, Kawhi and KD, they're coming off those injuries. And then, boom, you have them right there in the finals. So, like, yeah, it would be nice. I would like that. Mike, appreciate you, hopping on, for the show. Your last thoughts you got?
My only last hottest take I have, which I guess maybe on this panel maybe isn't the hottest take, but I think Lakers have a legit shot of making the finals. Like legit, like biased out of it. I think they when they first made the trade, my initial thought was Luka and Jokic can neutralize each other, and then it becomes down to like LeBron and role players versus Jamal Murray and role players. And I like LeBron's and I like the Lakers side a little bit more. And I think OKC matches up well, but I do think the LeBron-Luka connection has some legs. So I turn from I think Lakers are like a second round exit to I do think they can legit make the finals.
I can see as long as Jackson Hayes keeps playing the way he's been playing the past couple games. That's what I was concerned about with the Lakers, was having the big man, and if they can figure that out, they're not far off. They're really not far off.
I mean, like, unbiased, like, just coming from this from a basketball standpoint, like, basketball fan, I guess,
It's the best we gonna get right there, Mike.
yeah, I guess. Like, yeah, you guys were gifted with, like you said, Mike, earlier, I think Luka's a top 3 player in the world. You guys were gifted with a top 3 player in the world against some 40-year-old dude that's still acting like he playing like in his prime. So it's like, not nothing you can do. I don't think they'll make the finals because I think you guys get upset by Denver. Yeah, you could say who's gonna stop Luka, but who's gonna stop Jokic? Jokic been beating y'all.
Can I get one on Denver, though? This is where a lot of my hate comes from. Jokic, since 2020, has not beat a team seeded above 4 in the playoffs.
I guess.
Room for thought. It can't.
It is. It is.
There's room for thought. I guess it's just like
here's the thing. I think Jokic is awesome. I think Denver's a really good team, but like their finals run and some of their wins, I just go, you're just playing, I feel, inferior talent. And the moment they actually match up in the playoffs versus legit like top tier teams, they can't beat them. Like their finals run, they played 3 play-in teams there, but I'm just saying like how everything played out. They played 3 play-in teams, and so I just go, can I trust them? I haven't been able to trust them.
I guess no. You got a good point. My thing is just like
Luka has never been.
I trust Jokic, and I don't trust the Nuggets, but I trust Jokic more than I trust, I guess, like the rest of the Nuggets team. If that makes sense a little bit.
Can I add one more? I'm going to really push this button till you believe me.
Goodness.
Luka has never been favored in a playoff series ever.
Yeah, no, that's so false. That's false.
Katu.
That's false. Never.
I can run through them. I swear to God.
The first 2 years with the Clippers.
Yeah. The only one. So in 2022, when they made the WCF against the Warriors, they played Utah. But Luka missed the first 3 games, so they flipped the odds to Utah because they thought without Luka they would win. But last year, first round Clippers were favorited. Right. Because they were the home team. Then they played OKC, then they played Minnesota, and then they played Boston.
Right.
I'm telling you, he's never been favored. Give him a good team where he's favored.
I guess.
I'm trying. Sean, I'm trying. Let me push.
Listen, Mike. Luka is a great player, and I will say, he's definitely like a top 3 player. I've been caught in this pot a couple times saying like, oh yeah, maybe he's like stat padding and he's not as good, as we think he is. Yeah, we don't gotta talk about that. But like, I just like the Lakers have a great chance, but I just don't feel like that you guys are going to be able to sustain this until June. We only at the beginning of March. Will you guys be able to sustain this until middle of June? And then we saw Luka Doncic in the playoffs last year. Like, yeah, offensively he was great, but like on the Lakers, he's gonna have to play defense and he's gonna have to make up for that defense. And I don't know if he has that, in him.
Yeah, we'll see. His blow-by percentage is really bad. That's for sure.
I've
gotten that one.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, and we saw it last year, in Boston in the finals of how many times he was just complaining. Yeah,
and I'm with you. I got it. Yeah.
Appreciate Mike hopping on the show and talking some hoops with us.
Yeah, happy to be here. And I don't know if you're supposed to say so, but
go ahead.
I'll come whenever you need.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I like it. Until then, we will catch you guys next time.